Okay, welcome. Yes, I'm doing StreamYards because this is like the popular thing that all the pro streamers use to talk about these kind of things. And honestly, I was just too way lazy to make anything with OBS or any kind of thumbnail that was worth a shit. So I apologize for the low quality of this. I just don't care. But I have high quality in here, though. I have high quality in here. That would be you.
I use StreamYards. So are you saying that my streams are low quality? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You need Veda has the quality. Veda has the graphics and she just goes all out. And I don't have that skill set. But you know what? Your streams are quality as far as content, so that makes up for it. So I'm hoping that's the case here. So let's make up for it as far as the content by what we're going to be talking about tonight, because I didn't really want to make a huge thumb or to go that far out to really talk about this. But I did want to invite Aaron in, and Veda shall be joining us shortly, I believe. And Shill had changed her name again. Shilly Karen a virus. Hi, welcome. Autistic Show. So, anyways, let's kind of dive into this so we don't waste people's time. Aaron, a lot of shit has been going on. A lot of stuff been going on with this person nonsense who, again, I don't watch any of her stuff, but she has been doing stuff to people, which I find to be very similar to what has been going on to what people have done to you and I. And so that's kind of why I want you to talk about it, because this person nonsense seems to be willfully manipulating things to frame people. And I don't see any excuse that she has for this other than she's doing so for some kind of agenda. So I'm going to bring you on to kind of like explain to people what has been going on and start us off about what the hell is this nonsense talking about and why is she framing people?
Okay. Well, hi everyone. Wait. Okay. Let me turn my camera on and finally get ready to. All right. There we go. Hi everyone.
Oh, look at you. See, she got Madonna for this.
Sorry.
See? This is why she has content. This is why she's entertaining and she has quality content, and I don't freaking do. I'm not even going on camera. See how little I care. This is why she has content.
Sorry.
By the way, you do look good. Seriously.
Thank you.
That's a nice little outfit. It matches. Okay.
It's been a crazy day. So I'm home now. So I'm actually, this is like the first time I've sat down like in most of the day. But so with nonsense though, like she came on to YouTube, on the YouTube scene or whatever. She came from Facebook mostly, but she apparently has been quite busy on Facebook over the years, basically doing much of the same thing that you're seeing her do here toward Molly Golightly, toward Letitia Bias, who's not even a YouTuber or content creator, mind you. She's the mother of someone in a coma. Okay, so. But for the most part, though, it looks like nonsense. Becky, I'm going to call her Becky. Becky, along with her crew there on Facebook, they've gone after other influencers or content creators that they have deemed to be scamming people. And don't get me wrong, there are definite questions and red flags raised with a lot of people that they bring up, or that I've seen that they've targeted. I'm not questioning that. But the thing is, though, is you can't really call them scammers because they're not hiding anything. They're openly like just abusive to their viewers or their followers. They're openly assholes and they're just asking for money. But for some reason, people choose to give it. Yeah, that's maybe highly unethical or whatever. And everyone's got their own opinion about it. And everyone is probably right in their opinion, but they're not scamming people. So to go after them and on a criminal level, when what they're doing is just asshole.
In other words, it's not illegal to be an asshole.
Right, exactly. And that's my whole problem with it is, and because like recently she did a stream where she's talking to her viewers there, her followers, and she's like, and now it's time to take this up to the next level. Now it's time we get some, we write to our congressmen or whatever. We get some things moving, some things on the book. We prevent this from happening. And I'm like, what the fuck? What does she want to prevent? She wants, when it comes down to it, what she wants to prevent from happening is she wants to prevent people who she deems not worthy enough to talk about things of public interest.
Okay, so hang on one second. Best of Truth. Yeah, if you want to restream this on your channel, knock yourself out. Full permission. Absolutely. I don't mind. Just link to the only thing I ask when people restream, just link to the original. because I do it for them. But yeah, if you want to like restream and talk about it on your stream while we're doing this, I have no problem with that. I can't stop you. You don't need my permission, nor would I. But absolutely. But if you're streaming and you're done with your stream and you want to send people over here, that's great too. But yeah, whatever works for you. Yeah, I'm cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she talks about all this stuff. She does a lot of stuff on the Molly, not so Molly. Well, maybe Molly go lightly, but the Michelle Sabat crap. Yeah. So I mean, I like listening to Best. I don't like listening to Michelle. So I mean, I get everything. I just go to the Best of Truth SYT's channel instead for all that. So yes, of course you can. All right. So this group. They're gatekeepers of some kind of what people can talk about.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And like someone sent me some information, and long story short, just following a few leads or whatever, I found this video of Becky from like 2 years ago. It's up on YouTube, but I think that this video was from an Instagram live, and she's talking. I don't know. I know nothing about the players involved. I don't even know really who all these players are, so I don't want to give too much comment on it without knowing. But from the sounds of it, this is something she's been doing for quite some time. They apply their own sense of value on other creators or influencers, and then they determine whether or not they're like worthy or whatever of making an income or even just having a platform, regardless of monetization. And then if they deem there's there to be fault or whatever, then they target them, and they're relentless with how they go after them. And a couple of people in the group that she's been connected with all this time is they go by the last name of Crane or whatever. I don't know who they are though, for real. I don't know. But what stood out to me though about one of these Crane pages has to do with the whole Marvin situation. And I want to say it was the account Cartman Crane. I want to say I'm not positive, but I know I'm pretty sure it was Cartman Crane, but it was on their page, and they got mad at the admins for the Justice for Vaughn group. They felt like they weren't given the respect they were due from these admins. So that's why this Crane person then flipped and started going after these admin along with Letitia and that whole side.
It sounds like a Katie Joy playbook.
Exactly. Like, yeah, because I don't know. They're not doing what they're doing because they feel like this sense of purpose or whatever to protect people or to stop people from taking advantage of others. It's an ego-driven.
It's a troll group that just got butthurt. Yeah. And yeah, that makes sense. No, I kind of suspect it's something along those lines. Again, I didn't dive too much into any of that stuff. I know people have been talking about that group, but I'm not in that group. I don't care anything about that group. But that makes a little more sense that there has been some personal reasons why these people are getting involved. So how does it relate to nonsense? Is she an admin for that group, or how is she involved in it? Because she seems like there's a personal vested interest of why she's trying to frame people in order to support this narrative that Letitia's some kind of bad person.
Well, from what I gather, and this is what I've gathered from just her own words, things that she's like let out or let be known here and there over the months, and just her own behaviors for the most part, but also what I've learned from her past behavior online. Best I can offer is that she's been kind of a follower of Dre McRae for some time. And I think that when she maybe caught wind of this, she genuinely did take up against Dre. Like, she followed Dre, but she wasn't like a stan or anything of Dre's. It's just one of the makeup pages she followed. But then Katie Joy came along, and I'm guessing that their troll group over on the Thunderdome place or whatever, the Cranes, must have people in common with Katie and Unirock and whatnot. And then when Katie was rejected by Letitia Bias and Marvin Senior's family and whatnot, Katie lost her shit. Katie started doing all these posts and upstream or live streams and uploads going after Molly, going after the family members, and just she lost her shit there for like a good 3 or 5 days maybe. And I think when she realized that she went too far, maybe she needed to roll it back a little bit, but she couldn't let it go. I think that's when nonsense took up with Katie and kind of helped her along. I don't know why. I don't think it's monetary, the reason really. I think maybe that may be a part of it, but I don't think that that's a driving force reason.
No, I agree with you, and it makes a little
Yeah.
bit of sense. That you remember way back when, and they still exist, but nowhere near the levels that they were. But you remember the people, most of them were nameless, faceless, newer accounts, but there was some other ones. But you remember that there were people, no matter what you told them, they were so trying to spin the narrative that they weren't even able to comprehend the facts, objectively things, objective facts
Yeah.
that they knew were wrong, which would make sense if they're just trolling, right? Trolls don't care about the facts. They're not interested in the truth. And so
Right.
if some of them were in that troll group, that would explain a lot of the people that I had to block that would just completely out to lunch, that would willfully say absolutely the most ridiculous things in order to try to spin a narrative. I mean, this makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a playbook. It's a black PR
exactly.
playbook.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I see like day in and day out. Like if I'm looking, paying attention to Becky's live stream chat, that's exactly what it is. And I mean, and even the comments talking shit about people, they're not talking shit about people to engage in conversation. They're putting these comments on display for the people they're talking shit about to basically just bait them into some sort of confrontation, or bait them into coming out of character of sorts or whatever. That's
right.
Which
well,
I love.
What a lot of it is they bait, and they want people to have a response, and then they'll take that response and manipulate it as much as they can. Now, I had that happen years ago, and people took some innocuous thing that I said and tried to run a whole narrative out of that. They tried to create a alternate reality, fan fiction, if you will. And at that point, I no longer was going to give them anything that they could possibly twist. I was like, this topic's done. Say what you want, because at that point they already had, whatever ammo they made up, but anything you try to fight against them is just going to be more ammo and fodder for them. So certain topics, it's not worth discussing because they're already wrong. You already know they're lying. There's no good, in my opinion, to go after people that will willfully change what you're trying to say, because that's how they work, right? I don't deal with those kind of people. You enjoy it, I don't, but you
it's an art, definitely. I mean, it's an art what they do, but more importantly, it's an art in how you respond to it too. I mean, you can't really care, you definitely can't lead with your emotions if you do care. But I mean, you have to just look at things in perspective. These are people who have no effect or bearing whatsoever on your real life, or probably even on the issue at hand, and they're nobodies. I mean, they don't even have the balls to come at you from their own legal name and account,
Yeah, they're all
so, and they're doing that purposely to get you to come out of character, so that they're giving you enough rope to hang yourself, basically.
Exactly.
And
but everything I see, here's the thing, is everything about me is public, just about. I mean, I've always used my real name. People know, approximately, my history and all that stuff. I have nothing to hide. And then this is weird when you have people that have no name, avatars kind of stuff. They just come out of nowhere, spewing stuff, and they're not willing to really, put their actual real name attached to what they believe. And that's just, to me, indicative of what a troll would do. Lady Firebrand doesn't know who we're talking about. And I'm not sure if she actually does, may not remember, or she doesn't, because Aaron's been talking about this for quite some time. Matter of fact, her and Veda, Jade, have a lot of this recently on their channels. Like I said, Veda will probably be joining us soon. But this has been going on for quite some time, that this person Nonsense kind of came out of nowhere and has all these videos talking about Molly Golightly. Matter of fact, she just recently said something along the lines that she talks about other things. Where?
What?
Where? When? I looked over her channel because, like I said, I don't watch her stuff, but after, I think it was just like it wasn't that long ago. It's been within the last couple of days or something. But I mean, there was something that she had said where she said she talked about other stuff on her channel, and you had pointed out where, and so I went over there. I didn't see a single video that wasn't about Molly in some capacity.
I think that there was maybe one video she did a while ago that focused more on like maybe Bullhorn Betty than it did Molly. But I mean, it still mentioned Molly. Like, there's not a piece of content up on her entire channel since the day she created her channel that does not mention Molly. I don't think. I mean, maybe, all right, then maybe there's two out of like a catalog of like over 500, but like, yeah.
Well, Thly Mom, Lord, $30 super chat. Thank you. Wow, no, thank you. It's so funny. These kinds of streams, I wouldn't even expect to get a super chat. They're not like what I usually do, and this is like Aaron's kind of shtick. But I think it's worth getting the eyes on this stuff, especially when Veda's joins us. So your support and your super chat is well received. I assure you. Thank you very much, Flying Mom. And I hope that you enjoy the content, even though it's not like usual stuff. But I think this is important stuff because even though my channel is dedicated to critical thinking, this is an example. Aaron and Veda have actually used the Socratic method and objective evaluations of things to determine things that there really can be no other explanations besides the fact that this group has gone out of their way to frame people. I really don't know any other possible explanation, and nobody's provided any other, and neither has Nonsense. She has not explained any of this in any kind of coherent manner. Nothing. But we'll get into the frame job here in a second.
Well,
Thank you, Flame Mom.
Yeah, I mean, she started to talk like she was here for a reason other than Marvin or whatever, or other than Dre, even though the entire time she was here talking about that was her purpose for being here. She stated time and again. But then all of a sudden, recently, she's like she started saying, now I can focus on my real reason for being here. And that led to the discussion about writing congressmen, about getting something on the books, about preventing, this kind of shit from tragedy pimps or whatever, So
wait, after 200 videos, that's her real agenda now?
I know. You're like, boy, confused. You sure faked it for,
right. That's hey, look, I'm all for building a foundation and some groundwork, but let's be serious here.
Yeah.
That's unreal. All right. So that's kind of nonsense in a nutshell about where she's kind of came from. So what's this first thing that you want to talk to people about of her framing Molly Golightly? And let me be very clear, because I know there's going to be stands out there. I don't really know Molly Golightly. I've never talked to the woman. I mean, she's been in my live chat. She seems, like she entertains people. I don't watch her stuff. I got nothing against her whatsoever, but she's certainly not paying me to shill for her or anything like that. Right. I'm objectively saying she was set up. There's ifs, ands, no question. Because there's no question about it. And so anybody who says, oh, well, Molly Golightly just bought you off. No, nothing. She's never given me a dime or whatever. I mean, I think she did maybe a $2 super chat, but I mean, that's irrelevant. She was done wrong. Whether you like her or hate her, she was done wrong. And I think a lot of people just latch on to the hate train,
Well, like since Veda and I were talking about that in the stream, there's been their side would like to think or may have people believe that there's been new developments or whatever, but no, there's been nothing new. But it does appear to be as though the last part of editing, or the major part of editing on the video, was probably done by Katie. However, I think it was the two of them that went in on this, because, like, again, Katie said in her post that look at these clips that Nonsense found or whatever and put together. Look at this. This is, and then she says that these clips show that Molly Golightly was the first person to accuse Dre of, trying to off her husband.
I don't care about monetization. You can say murder.
Okay, all right. Trying to kill her husband.
Yeah, I don't do things for the money. Well, although it was nice to get a super chat.
Well, here's the thing, though. Okay, there's several different ways in which to look at this, but in all of which are completely evading their eyesight, apparently. But like, okay, let's, for argument's sake, let's just go out on a limb here and say that, okay, sure, Katie Joy did the editing, which I don't believe that, but we'll just say that for let's humor this. Well, then that would mean that Becky found her clip from Manny's Behind the Mic's channel or whatever, didn't bother to even look at the original. Just
send it to Katie.
Just went with the whole Manny behind the mic clip or whatever, and interpreted that to mean that she tried to off her husband. Because in the video that Nonsense put out at the time, where she plays the clip from Manny's stream, she then follows it up with, see, look, looks like Molly was the first person to make that claim. So I don't give a fuck who edited whatever. You still took a clip that you didn't bother to get the original from, or to grab any context for or anything. You just saw an opportunity to sell a fucking narrative, and that's what you went and did.
100%.
So it doesn't change anything here. But I am of the belief that the both of them did work on this, or have a hand in this editing, this creation, because at the same exact time, Nonsense was sending Katie other shit, according to her Facebook page anyways.
All right. Well, let's kind of do a little Socratic thing. Let's look at the facts here, because that's what I was doing, and hopefully Veda can join us soon. She's having a nice meal first. So let's look at the
My eye
facts.
keeps watering. I don't know why, so just don't mind me. I'm not
Sure.
crying. It's just one eye.
The video in question came from Manny on the mic. I think everybody agrees with this.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. The stuff the groundwork doesn't take 200 videos. A long time ago, Katie in both the live chat and in other social media said that Dre murdered her husband. She murdered him. Okay,
Katie did more than that. Katie even freaking concocted a whole motive and everything.
Yeah, she came up with a whole storyline based on Kratom.
Well, there was a part of it, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So she created. Long story short, she created this whole story, and she was trying to run this black PR that Drake had killed her husband. And by the way, he's not dead. So it's, I mean, sure, he's in a coma. He's in a coma. They haven't pronounced him brain dead, but I mean, even still, to accuse somebody of murder, you need some really good evidence for that. You need some substance. But anyways, she said that Dre had murdered her husband, Marwan. Now, when that came out, she had tried to say, well, I wasn't the only person who accused her of that. So other people who asking for facts, which is one thing I tell people to do, ask for evidence. They did this. Finally started people listening to me, and they asked for evidence. And so she said Molly Golightly. I think did she say Molly Golightly said it, or did they come up with the video clip first? I don't remember.
She tried to blame it on a couple of people. First, she said it was LB and Charlotte or whatever, or some shit like that, or CC swore someone said something on Charlotte's stream, apparently.
Okay.
Allegedly. And then she said, oh no, look, it looks like Molly was the first person to make this claim. And then she came out with this. Yes.
Awesome. I think that's the chronology that I seem to remember as well. But the chronology isn't that important. What's important is there was a video from Manny on the mic where Molly Golightly was talking about how she didn't want to watch Dre murder her husband. This video was clipped and edited such that it made her sound that Dre murdered her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Nonsense played the video out of context, clipped, saying, "Oh look," trying to support Katie and her narrative that she wasn't the first to claim this. She said, "Oh look, it was Molly Golightly that first claimed this," even though it was clearly an edited copy because the people had the original, because the original was still available. Which I don't understand. If you have a video and you know that the original is still there, why would you go out of your way to clip it unless you don't care and you know some people are going to believe it still?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and the original is still up. I mean, I have a link to it in one of my recent videos. Do you have a link to the original? If you want to,
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
People can go to your channel for all this specificities. But all right, so this part is all in evidence so far. Who did the video? Who manipulated the video? Now, Nonsense.
Well, I want to just make something clear here. Manny behind the mic did not manipulate the video.
No, not at all.
No. He was doing a stream, and Molly and this chick were fighting or whatever, and it's just like it was a bunch of activity going on at once. That's why it sounds the way it sounds on his channel. There was no editing.
Yeah, this was nothing on Manny.
Right.
Okay, so the video was edited. Somebody had to do the editing. The likely candidates obviously was the first person who talked about the video, which is Nonsense, or Katie Joy, who actually had an edited copy of it where she added her own text to it, which means she edited an edit, or she edited the video. So there's one of two possibilities. She edited the video directly from Manny, or she edited the edited video from Nonsense. I don't see any other real possibilities of any merit. I mean, those are pretty well it.
It does sound like the voices that are not there in the original, but are there on Manny's stream. It does sound like they're there. You can hear them briefly for like a moment on Katie's version. So it sounds like this was a version off of Manny's video rather than the original.
I will go with that because I know the voices you're talking about.
Right,
so Katie Joy who still you think edited it first then?
I don't know.
Yeah, I again, this is where the ambiguities come on. This is where the deduction no longer can get you to a definitive answer.
Here's the thing. The clip that Katie put up was definitely edited. You know, it was manipulated to present it in a much more damning context than what the original was showing. And it sounds as if that was the intention of it.
She could have edited it and said it's the Nonsense.
Right. Right, but and on the clip though that Katie posted, you see Nonsense's watermark on the bottom. Now she could have grabbed the clip from Nonsense and then did her own editing, or the both of them did. I think it was the mixture of the two, really. So
Well, one way maybe to decide, okay, obviously having the watermark was nonsense, but more importantly, did Katie Joy have her video out with the text first, or did Nonsense have hers without the text first?
No, Nonsense had hers out
That's what I thought too.
Katie's text.
All right, so there's really two damning pieces of evidence against Nonsense then. One, the video she admits comes from Manny that she took. Two, it has her watermark on it that she made, which again, I don't know why she wouldn't take that off. She's going to fabricate stuff, whatever. She's not that bright. And three, another video was made after that with all the same edits with now Katie's text on it, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so exactly. It would make sense that Nonsense edited the video then gave it to Katie.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, I don't know. See, I am of the belief that though Nonsense was in on it, I think someone else probably did the editing, because I don't think that they're really that schooled on editing.
Well, I mean, that's okay. So here's the thing, though. Even if somebody else did the physical editing, it was on
right. Yeah, they were behind it, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, can I definitely prove, deductively that it was Nonsense that typed it all out and put it in a video editor and did it? No. But was she intricately a part of it? Yeah, I don't think there's a question about that, because it has her watermark on it. Mm-hmm. So that, but see, I think in order to justify, saying that Nonsense was probably the most likely one did it, is who's the other possibilities? I don't really know of anybody.
Right, exactly.
Who has anything to gain from it? She's supporting Katie no matter what. She's for some reason she seems to be afraid of Katie, but the only two people who have anything to gain from this, to try to say that she wasn't the first to say it, was Katie and Nonsense. But here's the thing. Why would it have been any big deal anyways if they just would have said, yeah, I was the first, so what? I mean, but Katie had to lie and say, oh, but I wasn't the first. But she lies all the time. What was about this, which she said, oh, I got caught in a lie, I need evidence to back it? What was so different about this? Because she lies all the freaking time and she doesn't do this. That's a good question, isn't it? That's a hard question to ask.
It is. Yeah, it really is. I don't see. I think what a lot of this comes down to with Katie and with Nonsense is saving face a bit, especially on Katie's end or whatever. I feel like she still has something to prove here, with the whole feeling of rejection. And with Nonsense, I have no inclination at all into whatever her damage is, but I think that there's some damage there.
I said, she's been caught on so many lies. What is it about this where they felt like they had to actually fabricate evidence?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think at this point, it's they don't want to look or appear to be like the wrong ones or the incorrect ones, and I do think that maybe they're kind of putting a lot of hope or whatever in Dre McCrae. Mm-hmm. I'm of the belief that the both of them feel and are acting as though their efforts are going to pay off somehow, some way, whether that be in clout, whether that be in channel growth or view growth, or in just straight up cash. I don't know, but
I think you're right, and I think Laura has a point here. I think there's a backstory as well. She says, I think at this point there's a backstory here. I wonder if Katie Joy was pocket served by Dre. I also remember where Dre's ex comes with this, and Dre might have served as some kind of thing. I don't know. Dre has not been forthcoming as far as interviews, nor Letitia, and I understand why with Letitia for sure. Because they just twist everything she said, because Letitia, and this is again third party. I don't know much about Letitia. I've never talked to the woman, but just as somebody from an outsider that's experienced this and knows a little bit about YouTube communities, she doesn't seem to understand how YouTube worked or any of this stuff worked, and she got manipulated and basically trolled is the only way I can really put it, because she was, and I hate to use the word naive, and I don't mean it derogatory. This is not a pejorative, but she was naive, and because she didn't know that there was this level of psychopathy out there and this level of evil that would do something to a grieving woman. She would probably think to herself, who would do something like this? But then she hasn't met people like Katie Joy, Unirock, and Nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I do think that, like, see, I've been kind of jumping back and forth and like what this, like, there seems to be some sort of organization or whatever, or formed here amongst people on YouTube or whatever, like this underground thing where they're all working together to make these in these efforts or whatever. But I am of the belief, though, really, that it's a very small team of people working together. I thought maybe it was a larger network, but I don't think that that's the case now, because I'm thinking if it were a larger network, they'd be a hell of a lot more successful than they've been. They haven't been that successful. I mean, if people like myself or Veda, I mean, nothing against she and I mean, she's very good at what she does, and I just have a lot of time on my hands, I'll be honest. So
she is really good at what she does.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta tell you, I've been impressed.
Right. So I mean, if we're even knowing that she's good at what she does, and I have way too much time on my hands, we're able to kind of cause these hiccups or whatever, then that tells me that they're probably not some well-oiled run machine or whatever. You know, like this is kind of in the works of it being created to be some network that's works for services other content creators or other influencers who want to basically run a narrative. Maybe, I don't know. It's like a black PR company, but it's a black PR company created and run by those who would need the company themselves.
All right, so let's look at like the second piece that of evidence that there's been a manipulation and a frame job. Veda has really high quality stuff. She uses a very specific type of software. I've downloaded and I've tried to figure it out. I'm not as capable as her. I'm not as capable of her as she is. I might one day, but she's definitely much more experienced with this than I am, to say the least. I'm humbled, but you know, she puts some pride in her videos. I mean, she really, really does. And I think that what happened, this is my supposition. Let's look at the facts first. The fact is that Nonsense played a video of Veda's where the color had been changed. It looked like saturation had been changed. Yeah. It was very orange. It completely was re-rendered or filtered. And so it was either re-rendered or played through OBS when you add a filter and you can change the color saturation through a filter. It was one or the other probably thing. I don't really know what else you could do to make that kind of color change unless you actually decided to re-render the entire video with a higher saturation, or just if you're streaming through OBS, what you throw in a color video filter, right? And you just change the parameters on the color filter. Easy peasy. It takes 2 seconds. So that's probably what she probably did. But even still, it would have to be on her end of her changing that video. And I think this is where the supposition comes in, is she knows Veda takes pride in, you know, the quality of her content, and she wanted to like put a little you know, like jab in her side to troll her, going, oh, look how bad her quality of video stuff is.
Oh, I don't even think it was so much about the quality of video. I think that Nonsense sees someone like Veda who looks like Veda does on camera.
She's pretty. Veda is no joke. Veda is very pretty. She looks very good on camera.
It's like over, like I get the impression that Becky's been having to come to terms with turning 40 or something this year. So between that and the age difference, I think that
is that what you think? I didn't even think that. I swear to God, that didn't come to mind.
I really think that she felt the need or the want to just kind of try to knock Veda down like a few pegs in her mind or something. But that's you
know what? You're more of a cynic than I am, because I didn't even think about that. That's really petty. I thought it was more.
That's the thing. That's the thing, because she didn't just like choose to opt to like just make the editing or whatever, the production look bad. She chose to make Veda look bad.
Right.
That's the thing, you know. So,
but I mean, did she not think that people were going to go, hey, look, you alter the color on here? Again, this shows that she's only placating to a very specific audience that will never go look at the facts, which means she's willfully deceiving people and doesn't care.
She doesn't. That's the thing. And people, I know, like she has she's amassing like a cult following now, of people who just don't care. Like, I mean, I have someone in my comment section arguing with me about this video here and everything, and I'm trying to convey to them, like, listen, what you're saying, why would I edit the clip and then try to pass it off as hers, especially when it's been up for over 6 months now? Like, I'm a little late at trying to get this plan in action here, you know, like whatever. But and then when it looked like they were giving up on their argument, they then came right back with, well, it's a fact that these fundraisers or whatever for Letitia, they've been investigated by a fraud section of something, and that charges followed. And I'm like, no such thing happened.
Never
no
happened.
Fraud agency department section or of whatever of anything investigated anything. No freaking convictions, charges, or arrests or anything followed. No investigation followed.
Nope. It was just somebody filed a report.
But this person seems so freaking convinced and adamant that these charges happened. And I'm like, no, they fucking didn't. Like, wherever you're being lied to, you are just straight up being lied to right now. I don't know what more to say, but
well, they are. I mean, what else can you add to that? They are being lied to. I mean, if you look at the original report, somebody had filed a report. This is true. There are some issues with the report. It doesn't look like, the person was being forthright, but there was an actual report that was filed. That's it. There was no.
I wouldn't even call it a report
after that. What?
I wouldn't even call it a report. I would call it an online complaint.
Yeah, online complaint. Yeah. Anybody can go do this. You can go to an online form. You can fill it all out and submit it. That's it. I've had to file 1 or 2 things like that before, and then what happens is they contact you, right? The police contact you, and then you go from there. But there's no indication whatsoever that there was any kind of investigation, and yet they were running the narrative. Oh, look, here's evidence. There's an investigation. No, this is not evidence of an investigation. It was evidence that somebody filed an online report.
Yep.
Or even not even that. I don't even know if it even can determine whether it's submitted or not. It was, from what I understand, but anybody go fill out a report and not hit submit. But I mean, I think it was actually submitted, but that's all it's evidence for. Somebody filled out some kind of report. Who cares? Anybody can do this. That's not evidence of investigation. If I went to a court, I mean, I know approximately what, Erin's area. And if I went to her area and I filed a report and said, hey, Erin stole my car, I could do that. Now, when they may or may not start an investigation, if they do, then I have a case number and I can go, oh, look, now they're investigating Erin for stealing my car, which she didn't do because I don't have one, but they don't know that yet. Right. And then I hopefully would get.
You don't have one now.
Give my car back. But the point made is that anybody can file a report. They can choose to decide whether they investigate or not. Like, for example, they find out there's no car missing. Right. There's not going to be an investigation.
That's the thing. These people, like some of these people are content creators in the true crime community, mind you, and they're calling this shit an investigation. And I'm like, okay, an investigation consists of follow-up questions, people leaving their actual legal names and a phone number and a way to be followed up with. People actually contact them, and then people will also contact and speak to others. And the actual steps are taken, and investigatory steps.
You think the criminal community would know that, right? Though
you would think. Yeah.
Laura makes a very good point that I made the other day on a channel that police don't investigate civil matters. This would have been a civil matter if she thought she was being. Unless the GoFundMe had determined it was fraud, there was no fraud involved.
Right. Yeah. No. You're right.
100% civil.
There could have been. I mean, I'm sure that there are some criminal statutes or whatever on the books that it had that could have been.
Well, there's wire fraud statutes
or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, for the most part, it would be civil. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, those are 2 different courts.
Okay, that leads us to the third piece that I'm sure you'll remember here when I jog your memory. Veda pointed out the other day the date on the $500 donation.
Yep.
Ended up being July.
I did a stream on that a while ago.
Yeah. You want to talk about that then? Because it was the dates didn't match, or I can refresh your memory.
Okay, so the one of the dono gals was named Danielle. So Danielle gave a timeline, a specific timeline in her online complaint form to the police department. And the dates that she gave did not match up with the dates that she had given in the past, or the timeline she gave in this one Facebook group, or the timeline she gave to Katie. I mean, there's just way too many inconsistencies. None of it made sense. It really didn't. And like, according to screenshots, the dates that she donated did not match up with the dates that she said that she donated in the online complaint.
Yeah.
So basically, she lied in this complaint.
The donations and the evidence is out there because it's all a public record. And you're right, Laura. They're not going to waste time for a $500 wine tap. Why are crimes you're going to find for like what called RICO statutes that are going to be going after, like mafia type people and big business and things of that nature that are seriously doing wire fraud and big money. They're not going to do it for $500.
Yeah.
The resources for that would be
RICO has to apply pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, RICO.
But okay, no, go on.
I was going to say the date. So she had said that she had donated $500, and then she couldn't after Katie wanted to get her money back. She had asked for her money back, but come to find out that even on the police, the report that she had, I think she put July, or whatever the month was, 18th or the 8th. It wasn't until the 25th after Katie did where it actually was even first given. So it wasn't given, and then she had to wait several weeks, and there was no response because there's a time between a person has a response or not. It was, she put in the report, backdated it several weeks earlier, when in fact she didn't actually do a donation until several weeks later, which is completely, of course, dishonest. Which it goes again to somebody trying to set up a frame job to make it appear that Letitia wasn't willing to give back the $500.
Yeah.
I mean, Veda could tell us in much more detail, but that's pretty much in a nutshell.
Right. Well, there's one other thing that Veda can fill us in on, which I don't want to do that for her, because this was her doing this. She's the only, this was her whole area. I just know what she conveyed to me and to others. But it appears that possibly, allegedly, Katie Joy lied about why GoFundMe even did refund her.
I want her to talk about that.
Exactly. I don't want to. That's her thing.
I don't know if she's listening. I hope she's not listening, because I don't want to stroke her ego by hearing that she's pretty. She's like, I know I'm fabulous. But no, I compliment her on her ability to actually do research and make really videos that are worth watching. Because she had asked me,
don't talk about your penis, and it's all good.
It's cock. Okay, just stop. Okay, Navy people said cock. I don't know what. Nobody in the right mind who's in the Navy says penis. Nobody. This is a biology class. It's cock. Okay. Or you can say tallywhacker if you're English. That's the British Navy.
Porkies.
Holy shit! I saw his tallywhacker. Oh, you do remember that. So now I'm totally derailed now.
God, I haven't seen that movie for so long. Oh my God, that was such a good movie.
It was a good movie. It was really an amazing movie. Because she had put out, like, how long do you think her video should be? And I'm like, look, I can't sit very easily through 3 or 4 hour streams, and Aaron loves 3 or 4 hour streams. The 2 hours, I'm good. I can put it about 1.5 speed, and it'll be good. 90 minutes is optimal. But if you're doing a video where you just want to point out very specific things, 20 to 30 minutes is 10, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is. And that's what she's been doing lately. And they've been really, I think, super impactful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I like that quality on that. Yeah, I don't know if she's listening, though. But I mean, if she's not going to be able to join, you might have to bring it up yourself instead of letting her talk about the Katie Joy thing.
I mean, I can give like a loose rundown, but we'll give her some time though to fill in about that. Right now, I'm trying to pull up my stream I did on the actual dates. Update on the scams at Katie Joy and other news. I'll find it though, but because in this stream I did, I broke down all the dates and everything, and I have all the screenshots and everything, and it's interesting. But I want to also call attention to something else. Now, this is completely and totally my hunch, if you will. But about 3 months ago or so, 3-4 months ago, there was this bullshit news article released on this bullshit news site or whatever. And this article was alleging that Vaughn McRae had passed away. Now, the only reason why I recognize this as a bullshit site or whatever, it just bullshit all around, is because I had already come across these sites twice already, like once in the recent past from then, and once like a year and a half prior, both times through something with Katie Joy. So I right off the bat recognize this as a bullshit site. And I then started a stream to show everything that I discovered, everything that I knew. Now, this was within hours. Like, I think I was online streaming by like 1-2 p.m. that afternoon, and the thing had been posted at like 8 a.m. Okay. So that's how little time it took me to learn about it, spotted as it was, and then go get online and talk about it. And then while I was streaming, there was one other channel who popped up online basically saying the same shit. Now, I'm not saying that she knew about this or she was in on it. I'm not saying that at all. I think maybe possibly she was fed some shit and then she thought that she was just genuinely speaking from a place of discovery when I think she might have been fed some shit. But there's one other channel that did that too. And the people who fed her the shit are the people who jumped on this article right away, calling it fake without doing any of the research like shit that I did. They just knew instinctively.
They knew it was fake before. Like I knew it was fake. You knew it was fake, but it hadn't really been put out much that there was some fake news organization out there. We had to do some looking into because of something of other reasons, obviously.
Right.
But the average person probably wouldn't have been going, oh, this, we know this is fake. They can say, hey, look, there's some issues here because that's what we looked at. Was like, hey, this doesn't look legit. And then looking more and more into it, especially on your end, you're like, oh yeah, these are fake websites.
Yeah.
But they knew immediately they were the fake websites.
Yeah, they knew immediately. Right. Yes. And like
So do you think they made them and then so they can call it out?
You see, this all happened too, like the day after Molly showed up in Georgia. So, and this is Molly is the person they jumped right on to blame it on. Okay. And now she was down in Georgia just protesting this other thing or whatever. And she had only been down there for like a day or two. So, I mean, yeah, I think that it was set up to be released the way the manner it was so that it could be then put out there and then it'd be easily or whatever refuted or discovered it was fake by like maybe Dre coming out and speaking on it or whatever, just debunking it. And then these people here like Nonset or Becky here and Katie or whatever could then come out and be like, well, I can't believe, there's only one group of people who could have done that, who would have wanted to do that. That's Molly. And then they would have jumped all over her.
No, I think these sites came before Molly.
Yeah, right. That's the thing.
They've been around a while.
Yeah, one of these sites, because in this, I think it was in the second stream I did on this, I pulled up, I searched the website, the fake news website for McRae, and somehow some articles about Molly came up, and they were from like June, before Molly even started talking about Marvin. And this stuff that was being said about Molly was not very favorable either. But like, I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you this. This is a question that's unresolved, and I don't remember if I asked you it before or not, and I don't remember the answer. So I'm going to ask again because I'm getting stay now. It's perfect timing because maybe Veda can answer it as well.
Hey.
Hi, okay. Welcome.
Sorry.
That's okay. I hope you had a good day. Let me get a question up before I forget it because I want this answered if anybody knows. How do they have access to the site? I have 3 domains. I have 2 non-sequitur show domains. I have the Great Debate Community domains. In order to get into those sites, it is you have to be authenticated. You have to have the logins. You have to have WordPress. You have to know a little bit how to use WordPress and all this other stuff. Those sites, how do they publish those fake news articles? How do they have access to them? Because that's what I don't know.
I think they get tips.
Oh,
yeah. No, I read.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I read one of the About Us sections on one of them, and basically what it was saying was, hey, just send us whatever tips you have, whatever stuff you want marketed or put out there to the masses, and we will only do it for
I'm an idiot. Yeah. Okay, stop. I'm an idiot. Never mind. Yep. Okay. That makes sense. So in other words, they'll run with anything. You just give them stuff and they'll just print some story up. They don't care
whatever garnish like clicks and shit for the website because that's where they make their money.
Okay. I'm sorry. That makes a lot more sense because I was thinking somehow because the reason I thought this, okay, go ahead. You can vilify me. I don't care. Because Katie is a self-professed journalist, and I thought that for some reason she has some ability to put those up there. And I was thinking that she may have been doing that, but what you say makes a lot more sense. They're giving tips to these people and then running with that. Okay. So how come they haven't made any tips for us? Like Steve McRae is like, mass murdering atheist sex cult leader that, preys on vulnerable women at bars by talking philosophy. Cause we all know how that works. No snickering. I hear that shit. Okay.
Probably because they know they're full of shit.
Yeah, but that would be so cool, man.
Hey, I said the same thing. I'd own the sex cult thing. I mean, I would have been like, hell yeah, that's me.
Damn right. Yeah, but philosophy, can I do better than that? Seriously? I mean, I know it shouldn't work on Erin. Erin's part of the sex cult, and she hates philosophy because that certainly didn't work over dirty martinis. You know, she doesn't even like dirty martinis. So whatever.
Nope, I don't like them either.
I don't either. I agree with her. Dirty martinis are nasty. I'm sorry.
I mean, that article thing is dumb. If anybody believes that stuff is real sources, come on, that's a tabloid all day.
All right, so that makes sense how those news stories got out there. So
yeah, I don't know for a fact, but that's by going by the website's own wording. That's what they say, you know. So I think that's.
I think we should test that. I
think maybe Katie may have some connections or just know some people that she's met through the years.
Maybe
with her endeavors online, maybe, but that's about the. Maybe
or Veda, can you send something to them saying that Steve McRae is an atheist sex cult leader that I prey on women at bars by using philosophy? If that got printed in the news, I'd be so fucking amazed.
Wait a minute. You're using philosophy to prey on women in bars?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not going to get anywhere with chicks with that.
God damn it! Well, now you tell me this now. Because I started using this. I was like, listen, I was like, hey, this shit might work, right? So believe it or not, though, this is actually, I swear to God, a true story. I was out one night chilling. I was just sitting there and I had my ghost necklace on, black shirt, you know, which was upside down cross. And these two really good looking girls, really in their mid 20s or something, if not even younger, were sitting at the bar and they're asking what my necklace was. And I told them, they said, they're like, you know, we saw you over here just kind of sitting here yourself and you look like you're just got to like, think of deep thoughts, profound thoughts. Right. Yeah. And we were like, what you were thinking of? And I'm like, this is cool. And I was like, well, I happen to do like philosophy. And I ended up like talking to them for like 2.5 hours about their daddy issues. I'm thinking, holy crap, is this really shit working? But it's the same.
They didn't like roll you or anything when you guys walked out of the bar? They didn't.
No, we didn't leave together. No.
Yeah, but I mean, when you walked out of the bar, you didn't like shit. Jumped and your wallet stolen and shit. Like, wow, okay.
I gotta be more careful, huh? Yeah. But it was funny because I was thinking to myself, I'm philosophizing talking to two really hot chicks, but that's okay. Yeah, but you know what? They didn't. You know what? You might win. You might be right because I didn't leave with them, so I guess philosophizing sucks. Yeah. Anyways,
so all right. So Veda, can you explain what you learned with talking with GoFundMe?
Oh yeah. Just 1 second. I just gotta. Okay. I was trying to get in service where y'all could hear me. I was talking and nobody was saying anything. Can y'all hear me fine?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So with GoFundMe, I knew that they would not tell her to call the police or make a police report. I seriously doubt that was what happened. So what I did is I emailed them and I sent them Katie's long post. Y'all know the infamous refund post that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And I said, this person posted this, and I went in like a 10-paragraph thing about what was going on. And someone emailed me back and they said, I'm going to get my manager to email you. And I was like, okay. So the manager emails me and he said, are you talking about this case? And I clicked on the link and it linked me to the GoFundMe of, Marvon McCray. Right. And I said, yes, this is it. And he said, well, I can't tell you anything unless you can get me the email of the person that is responsible for opening it. And I was like, oh man. So I asked Letitia, I said, could you get a hold of your cousin that opened this? I need his email. And she messaged me back and she's like, well, no, he won't give his email out. And I said, well, could you get him to call them and just let them, give me access to know everything? You know what I mean? And she said, well, I'll call him. About a month later, I messaged her back because I guess she forgot. And I said, did you ever talk to your cousin? And she's like, yeah. And I said, what did he say? I mean, is he willing to give the email? She said, well, what he did is he didn't want you having his personal email, so he changed it to his business email. And here it is. So she gave me the business email and I called them and I was like, look, this is his email. I'm calling on her behalf. The fundraiser was for her. We just want to know the truth about, what do you call it? The refund. Sorry, guys. An emergency happened right before the stream. So I'm kind of.
Are you okay? Everybody was okay?
Yeah. Okay. It was just, I can't tell you live. So.
You ran out of Grey Poupon for dinner, right?
Yes, that's exactly what happened for sure. So what we ended up doing is I was talking to one man. He put me on the phone finally with another, and he said that his boss would have to email me back. And I was like, email me back. Can you not just come on the phone? Because I've been waiting for like an hour. So finally, I get back home and I emailed the guy back and I said, look, I called and they said that your boss would email me back. Well, his boss finally emails me and he said, call this number. And I was like, you're kidding me. I'm going to have to wait a whole nother hour. So I called the number back and I waited. It was the same number I had just called. And I said, he told me to call y'all back. So long story short, I finally get on the phone with him and he said, no, that's not what happened. He said, the merchant, which would have been Letitia, he said, what we did is the lady had said that an unauthorized transaction had went across her card, that she didn't authorize any kind of fundraising activity on her card, and she wanted her money returned and refunded.
And that, by the way, that's exactly how somebody did a refund on one of my GoFundMe's. They said that the card on their end was unauthorized usage, and they have a money back guarantee. If somebody, if you uses your card within 1 year, they have a policy that they'll refund it, but that comes out of their money. And people are like, oh, well, if you have a fraudulent GoFundMe, they'll refund you money. No. There's very specific things to that, but like what it is the people which do what's called a chargeback, an authorized chargeback. They're saying, hey, I want to charge back to the bank because somebody used my card, which, by the way, is illegal to do if somebody didn't actually use your card. That's fraud. It is actual fraud to get your money back on something when it was actually you used that card. But somebody had actually did that on one of my GoFundMe's too, even though they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with your GoFundMe. It's just that somebody, they had a fraud on their card because somebody, misused the card, or somebody was unauthorized to use it. I'm like, this is BS. But by the way, I want people to notice, this is why I could put Aaron's video on 1.5 speed, but not Veda's. You see how fast she talks? Yeah. I thought I smart.
Do I talk fast?
Oh, my God.
When you know what it is you want to get out, it comes right out.
I can keep up because I speak fast, but holy Christ, trying to put you on 1.5 speed is like chipmunks.
Well, y'all know the mistake I made. That is so crazy that you said it. You know my pre-made cat scratch fever video? Yeah. I was like, man, I'm talking slow. I went back to review it because I didn't want to make the same mistake as my first video. And I was like, man, this is taking forever. So I sped myself up. And the first comment I get is, girl, you're talking way too damn fast. Yep. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. After I went through that whole video and retimed everything.
I in real life and everything, like, I'll talk really fast. Michael tells me all the time, slow down, and so when I'm on stream, a lot of times I will stop myself because I'm tripping over words. I'm talking too fast. I'm trying to get it all out. And then I would just talk very slowly for a moment to try to get my footing again, and it's an adjustment to talk slowly.
I think we
Aaron, don't get offended, but I've got to ask you this. When Veda, you don't have a stutter, do you? Huh?
No.
You don't?
No, I know that that's what it sounds like a lot. I know, I hear it in myself too. And I'm like, Jesus, it's not. It's because I feel like my brain is like 2 steps ahead of my mouth. So I trip over words a lot, or I lose my place with my wording and getting the words out.
You've got ADHD.
No, I don't have ADHD, and I have that same problem. I literally, we think faster than our mouths can keep up on because we have a lot to put out. It's a matter of the fact we're just, we're processing ahead, and our brain is doing all these calculations of what we want to save, and then the mouth kind of is like way behind, like a second or so.
I feel like I'm talking to a preacher when you talk, Steve.
I need to speak. Look, I do the same thing she does. I pause and I take a breath, and then I try to speak slowly so I can enunciate and be clearer. So let's all practice that for like a minute or two. So Veda, try to speak very slowly so everybody in the audience can understand what you're saying, and then go ahead and continue from where you left off, please.
Okay.
It's tough to do.
It is. That's not freaking easy.
Do you know what it really is? I know what I think as I'm doing it. I think that people are in such a hurry, they don't have time to sit there. So I'm just trying to rush and say something.
Right,
yeah, I get that too.
And I will do that.
I will feel like as I'm talking, if I feel like I'm losing their attention, so then I hurry up and try to get it all out before I lose their attention. But that also kind of causes them to gloss over what I'm saying, and I lose their attention anyway. So.
Yeah, we gotta quit stuff.
Most people that watch your videos lose attention pretty quickly. That's true. All right. By the way, if you guys have not seen Aaron's latest video today, go watch it. It's freaking hilarious. She takes she takes all the hater comments from people that are just out to lunch, and she makes them funny. And they're enjoyable. That's the content you had that I liked from the beginning, though.
It's the kind I like to do, but I mean, you got to do
It's
some
funny.
stuff to piss people off enough first to get the material.
I agree. No, it's a holistic. It's holistic. But you're people don't know this, but you're actually a comedian. You're funny, you know. So, all right. But anyways, Lady Firebrand wanted to join and kind of give a psychological evaluation of sorts.
Sounds good.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Lady, hi.
Hi. I'm in the middle of work day of catching bad people doing bad things, so I couldn't help myself. So I had to quickly try to find a space.
Nice.
I always like talking about batshit crazy people doing batshit crazy things.
So what's your take on nonsense though? I mean, obviously, you know, she has some kind of agenda, and she is batshit crazy as far as she will willfully lie and manipulate information for that agenda.
Yeah.
But the question is, why?
Well, I mean, I've looked into this phenomenon quite a bit, and in my opinion, it's a combination of things. You know, this type of even troll communities within a troll network still is a community in itself. And if people are getting this attention that they're probably lacking elsewhere, then they're going to build upon it. And it may have even started out as a legitimate, well, I don't know, but a legitimate small gripe that just grew into this massive thing. And as long as they're getting, you know, what they need, so the need is either monetary validation, or you know, attention, or love, or whatever it is. Yeah, it triggers various parts of your pleasure centers of the brain, and it's an addiction. You know, people crave that.
But do you think that, okay, look, I can get that with like Katie Joy. Katie Joy, I will to the day I die maintain.
Yeah.
But she's a big narcissist idiot though.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, yeah.
And so she gets all that stuff. But Katie Joy and nonsense are not in the same category. I don't think she's doing it for attention. I think nonsense has a specific reason of why she. I mean, because if she would latch on to other things, but she's not. She's stuck on Molly Golightly. Period. Why?
Yeah, I mean, and EKC, I've watched you a fair bit, so I'm really happy I get to I get to chat with you. So hi.
I bring people together.
You know. I kind of feel like we need to meet halfway in the Pacific Ocean and get drunk together and just talk shit.
Hell
not,
yeah.
not over dirty martinis.
International waters too. Just
yeah.
Oh God. Laws don't apply.
Well, and there's lack of cameras would be ideal also, so we don't need no evidence.
I'm there.
Anyway, yeah. Well, a lot of it. What piqued my interest is the whole framing people thing, and I've seen it happen. And these people seem to not understand that they can, just because they spout this crap, it isn't just trolling. I think the term troll has become almost ubiquitous, and that people don't understand there's real legal repercussions, and that's where I generally get caught in, because I hunt these people down like animals legally, and there are laws in place. And in that respect, I think EKC hit it. Sorry, is it all right if I call you EKC?
You can call me, EKC, Aaron, whatever you want.
Did you see what people called her on her video? That's she responds to literally anything.
I'll be honest. Most things I'll answer to. So.
Okay. Sorry, baby. They don't understand that this is actually, people can land in jail with this stuff, and it actually hurts people. And it aggravates me because I've seen people get really physically hurt by this stuff. And I think part of it is what was mentioned before. Maybe there's a sense of wanting to bring someone down a peg, because in psychology, I mean, especially with narcissism, there's such a thing called exhibitionist narcissism. And that's where you act out. And there's a part of it that involves, I have my notes and I can't remember, but it was social upward
performative type things, like going into people's houses and screaming on their lawns.
Well, yeah, there's a thing with narcissism, especially where people who feel that they try to get to people who they consider either socially, physically, financially higher up in the rungs that they have. and that's who they want to compare themselves with, and it's sort of like a game, and part of it is to bring those people down, part of it is to lift themselves up. And again, I'm going to go back to the brain, and it influences their actions, and it becomes that addiction. I don't know as much about this whole, I've seen it, this nonsense situation, that I do about the Katie Joy situation. But from what I've gathered, I think it's a mixture of people, buying into it and giving that fuel, because even narcissists, they like to have fuel, whether it's challenge fuel, positive fuel, negative fuel, it's all fuel. Even people who go up against them and fight them, figuratively or whatever, is called challenge fuel, and that still gives them what they need to go on from day to day. It's just a different side of it, and I get the feeling it's a mixture of that, as well as this real sense in the brain, in their minds, whether it's right or wrong, of doing something good in their brain that no one else can see.
I think that apply in most cases. The only thing I think that while there might not still be elements of that, I think there's something much bigger and primary with nonsense, because according to Aaron, this is not the first time she's done this to somebody. Well, she's latched onto somebody else under different names and done the exact same thing, which means that to me it's more of a PR group. I mean, more targeted.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, because it's like with, how when you watch Law and Order, all those stupid shows, which I can't watch anymore, but where they say that with serial killers, the first kill is often the sloppiest kill, and then they refine their technique and they refine what they do.
Mine was perfect. You never heard about it. Dun, dun,
dun. So you think it's just an accident? I'm coming to your channel.
When I say I know, when I say where I know where all the bodies are buried, usually that's a euphemism, but whatever, a figure of speech. But whatever.
Oh, for God's sake, how got to educate you?
Bury them
the
vertically.
Bodies.
Yeah, bury them vertically. Yeah.
2 words for you: acid bath.
Yeah, I live in the desert, man. You don't even know that shit that's gone around here, man. There's some hills I don't even want to go to, from what I understand.
Remember to use plastic bins. Don't put them in a bathtub like Jesse Pinkman did.
I love that show.
But yeah, so probably what happened with doing it again is it's almost like it's a hobby in itself, or they refine it and they think they can do it, or they refine it thinking they can get away with it, but they can't get away with it, because especially when you start. I was actually working while I'm listening to you, and I almost choked on my coffee when it was mentioned that they were accusing someone of murdering their husband. That has real implications attached to it.
Wait, this is the same woman that accused me of abusing her son. Those are her words.
Yeah.
I abused her son. Now, you tell anybody what child abuse is, that's going to be an implication of some kind of physical. I mean, it doesn't have to be. There can be emotional abuse, no question. But child abuse requires you actually knowing the child.
Exactly.
That's somebody you've never met, talked to, or know anything about, other than on social media. You've never been in the same state. But these are hyperbolic things that they throw out that Katie Joy loves to do, and for some reason, Nonsense wanted to fabricate video to support this. Why?
Yes, their vernacular is very damning.
Yeah. What these are called in the psychological realm are incendiary words. It's when you see, for example, and I've been following it, so I'm going to bring her up, but idiot Meghan Markle type person anyone who there's a few incendiary words that really stoke up people's tempers. 1 is racism, 2 is abuse, whether it's child abuse, elder abuse, or whatever it is. Things like that, and it's hard for people to fight back against those accusations, because if they do, even if they are innocent, which 99% of the time they are, it sticks with them, and anything they say, they can just be argued away.
Yeah, you validate it.
Yeah, you
validate it by defending it by denying them. Yeah.
Yeah, so it gives that, and I saw studies that had with the people would actually attach. There was studies done where people would measure brain waves, and they'd mention these particular phrases, and because we wanted to find out in terms of putting together analysis. Find out at what point, what triggers these different waves in the cognitive processes. And these particular words are incendiary for a reason, is that they trigger these immediate responses, because rightly so, it's heinous to think of anyone that would do anything to another human being, especially a child, or sexual harassment, because we all know Steve likes to sexually harass everyone. Although
Cock. I guess that's all I ever talk about. Apparently,
you haven't sexually harassed me lately, Steve. So
you're too far away. Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. You know, so funny. You'll meet Aaron halfway, but whatever. Yeah.
Well,
apparently, I'm the only person he hasn't sexually harassed. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Don't take it personally.
I know. Anyway,
I said you look nice today. You can work with that. Right? Work with it.
So they do these words purposely because it adds to the outrage, and people reach out and they react accordingly. But they never actually say, well, he accidentally ordered a cappuccino instead of a flat white, and that offends me physically. So, well, it doesn't really have, I mean, it offends me because anyone who has a cappuccino offends me, but it doesn't hold that same initial reaction. So that's why they throw out these words. And you quite often find that it escalates. So if a person initially says, so-and-so insulted me on a chat one day and called me an idiot, so it was probably because you are an idiot. So people aren't really sensitized to that.
No, however, I agree. But is it like a fight or flight thing that, you know, should I defend myself against this or not?
Yeah. I'm fully with the defend yourself thing, but it takes
it depends. Like, I mean, I had to defend myself when Katie Joy made that shit up in a live chat about me.
Yeah.
As soon as that happened, I was like, what the hell is she even talking about? I mean, there was just nothing for me to relate to think, what is she talking about that she's misconstruing? This was just 100% fabrication.
Yeah.
And I wanted to nip it in the bud right there because I was like shocked by it.
Yeah, there's been a few things I've read that were like, I don't know, narratives or whatever, just it's like trying to be attempted to be pushed or whatever. And my immediate reaction was to just come right out against them or whatever. But I'm like, wait a minute, this is the only place I've read this. If I call attention to it, then I'm going to be the one who's perpetuating this claim or whatever. I'm going to be the one pushing it along. So I'm going to shut the fuck up and see if it even just takes off or not. And like 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't take off. So.
By the way, I haven't sexually harassed Keno either. So, damn it. Equal opportunity. Well, although she mocks me incessantly, you don't know the shit I got to put up with, man. I said today jokingly I was going to start an OnlyFans, and she started snickering, and I'm like, rude.
Well, it's crazy. It's like Katie has these stereotypes with gender. So for males, she will go for the sexual harassment. She will go for all. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and the women, she always targets body shape and looks and makeup every single time. She always talks about that kind of stuff.
And males, she'll use abuse or they're abusing their wife or something like that.
But when it comes to going after a female, then she will prefer that she's going after the female as though the female is the predator, the one causing the abuse, and she will take up for a man to go after the female. It's crazy.
Right. By the way, did we was it the refunds that we were going to wait for Veda for, or was there something else that we were going to wait?
Oh no, it was she already talked about it. It was the GoFundMe. Yeah,
it was a GoFundMe. Okay, I wanted to make sure we got that in there. Okay. Does everybody? So it's just kind of like bring it together a little bit. Is everybody in the live chat kind of knowing what's going on? Is there anybody in the live chat that doesn't know about this at this point? I'm kind of curious.
I wanted to say something too real quick, as just to, I don't know, give my thoughts or whatever on why Nonsense is doing what she's doing or whatever. And just from what I've learned about her past endeavors and stuff on Facebook, it kind of seems to me like yeah, maybe I think she does like the attention, the clout or whatever, and possibly the money, that she could be seeing now. I think that is definitely driving factors, but I think with her more than anything, it's a sense of feeling like she's doing something righteous. Like she's
100%.
Is it? Yeah. I do think that I do, but I for some strange reason, I just think there's something much more deeper and profound. And maybe I'm overlooking. Maybe I'm giving her way too much credit. Maybe she's superficial as shit. But to spend this much time having this many videos for that, it strains the credulity. It really does, because if she just was looking for that, she could pick 1,000 other issues, and she's not. She's not expanding beyond just this Molly. What is she going to do when this Molly Golightly stuff is dead and buried?
But that's the thing. Like, I think that's why she's been doing so many videos and everything and streams on Molly's, because she's getting this positive reinforcement, this feedback and everything from the people in her chat and everything. So it's kind of helping. It's feeding the beast, I think.
It's not. These are different hypotheses that the evidence fits all of it.
Yeah, and
So,
one thing that I've learned in my career, and one of the things my boss told me very early on, is don't think everyone is a criminal genius. Sometimes people think so don't always equate, don't always equate other people's thinking to what rational thinking is.
But lady, here's the pushback on that. Nobody's ever going to think that Nonsense or Katie Joy are criminal masterminds. They're stupid as shit. But I will give them credit for this. Sociopaths have learned a skill to survive in society, and that is to manipulate other people. And they're brilliant. They're geniuses in that little niche to manipulate people, and they've done a very good job of this.
I'm going to push you back just a little bit on that.
Push back. I like push back.
Push back.
You're
right up to a point. I think it's my thoughts, but sociopaths aren't always geniuses. Sociopaths quite often are impulsive, especially if you combine that with narcissism. Different types of narcissism. I just want to state, for any of the psychologists out there that wants to lynch me, I'm not putting all narcissism into one umbrella. There are different types of narcissism. Various parts of narcissistic behaviours are very impulsive. They're not pre-planned. They go by what's happening at the time in order to get the gratification they need. Some of these people aren't the smartest people in the shed, and they're not exactly criminal geniuses. They are just people who are wanting to get to that prime aim, which is fuel, satisfaction, justification, power, whatever it is that they want to get before they move on. They'll bleed someone dry, literally, and then move on to the next victim.
And by the way, I don't think you're violating the Goldwater rule, because I mean, Katie Joy is a public figure, but I don't think this. I think it's perfectly fine to have suppositions about with you, because I would consider you to be somebody of knowledgeable of this area. So you're not making a diagnosis, but
no.
But people say, "Oh, if you're the APA, you can't, make any kind of statements against a public figure, against the Goldwater rule." Fuck off. I think that there's very specific reasons for that rule, and it has nothing to do with Katie Joy.
Well, and I want to push back on that too, just a little bit, because I think for the most part you're right, but I mean, I think you're right in the situations where people are just dealing with people on a face-to-face basis.
Right.
But this is the whole internet. You can't manipulate the whole internet. You don't have that reach. You don't have that effect. So, and that's where I think the impulsiveness really kind of it works to their detriment, because when people start reacting negatively or they're not being manipulated, then that angers the person, and then that's when they act impulsively. Their emotions take over, and that's when they kind of screw up too.
Yeah.
So no, I think you're right.
That's true. And can I just answer? So Chin Without just said that narcissism isn't a diagnosis; it's a personality trait. It's both.
Yeah.
You can be diagnosed on a narcissistic personality disorder, or you can have narcissistic traits.
Which would be a B cluster behavior. Is that the B cluster trait?
Yeah. So there's so you got the B cluster, C cluster, and all that, and it really depends on what and how your brain works. Majority of the people that, especially some of the people out in social media or out in the media that people think have narcissism personality disorders, actually do not. They just exhibit narcissistic
traits.
Oh, it's long. It's been a day. Narcissistic traits, that's the one. Narc traits, and quite often those people also combine those traits with sociopathy or even psychopathy. Again, psychopathy isn't always about people with knives wanting to kill everyone around the corner. It's just about being very much within their own desire of what they want. So when there's more than those combined, that is what generally happens. And 100% EKC, thank you so much for pushing back. I agree with you that face-to-face and internet are very different mediums, and with the law, that's what's come. And the telecommunications law, especially with some of the there was a couple of laws in Australia. It was Molly's law, I think it was, or one of the law, where there were a number of suicides that happened on live stream, and because of those, the trolling laws and the criminal statutes had to catch up, and it's taken a long time for that to happen, and still needs some work. But these people cannot just do this without being held accountable. And anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with that. And look, this is what I think it is to actually hold people accountable. I just don't. What I'm surprised is this: how is it that they're getting so many people that believe they're bullshit when you and Veda have the facts? I have the facts. But you guys have been doing an exceptional amount of job on this. I'm just putting it on my channel for shits and giggles. But I mean, it's all you guys. Why don't you guys should have way more following than she has?
Because people want to believe it. I think that's why.
Get out.
People, I mean, there are things that Molly has done that has angered, a good number of people. So I think when people see a reason to come at her, to hate on her, then they want it to be true. They, for the same reason why some people in the anti-Katie community will latch on to anything and everything around with it.
God,
I think that's what it is.
That drives me freaking crazy when they do that. It's like, no, that has not been vetted. That's not been verified. Stop saying it.
You know what it is? In a sense, it's almost like there was a syndrome many years ago that was mob syndrome. And there was various experiments were conducted. And I know Stanford prison experiment was, I just want to say, completely discredited that whole experiment. It's full of crap. However, the purpose was to determine mob mentality and essentially we are animals. Right, regardless of what Ken Hovind seems to think, we are animals. We have animalistic traits. That's what triggers our fight or flight. That's what triggers our need to survive. It's because we've had to do that in order to evolve and survive through, years upon thousands of years. So mob personality disorder, mob personality syndrome actually happens. And I think EKC hit the nail on the head with the whole internet thing. With the internet, it also happens, and I've been part of it. I game. Even things like I had to do a paper on facilitation of groups and organised crime and all that through social media, through gaming platforms where there's chats. People of like minds who feel like they need to do something for the justice of it all, feed into each other, and it does lead to almost like a frenzy. And I think a large part of that, in its own degree, can be related to that. I think if it was just this person on their own, without anyone around to feed into that, probably wouldn't go to the extent that they have. But it's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I've seen that it play out. Like when I was doing vaccine advocacy on Facebook, mostly, like the anti-vax groups, like that's one person would post something, like share a post or whatever, like, hey, this is my friend's cousin or whatever whose child is in the hospital, and they're blaming they're blaming the unvaccinated or whatever for the measles that this kid has, and then the whole, like, there's so many members of this group would then come together, and then they go out and they attack the person who posted, the parent basically of this kid, and they just and it would go on for days, nonstop, around the clock, for days, and it's like, oh my, like, why? So
I've gone up against these groups directly, because I've been part of the skeptic community, and I've had death threats merely because I told them that what they were saying was wrong, and going after parents of kids who just died, and that's what I can't understand, and it baffles me how people think this type of behaviour, or even accusing someone who's grieving of being the cause of the death is, and it's kind of what made me pursue this whole discipline, wanting to understand exactly what it is that makes people think that's okay in our society to do, and it just doesn't.
Well, do you think there's an entitlement factor there? I mean, I should actually entitlement.
That was just, oh my God, you took the word out from my head.
The entitlement translator has something to say on this. Go figure.
Well, no, it's like they feel entitled to it or something. It's
always this like social justice warrior crap that goes on. It's like, I understand about wanting to get your thoughts out there, but there's a big difference between wanting to get your opinion out there and causing people real harm, whether they think it's just over the internet so it doesn't count. You can't do that. It has, as Steve noted, it has actual real life.
Well, they enjoy it. They literally enjoy harming people. I know for a fact the people that have gone after us they've gotten something off on it. They've enjoyed themselves, either gratification wise or some ways. They have gotten a dopamine kick by knowing they've harmed other people. There's not a doubt in my mind about that.
Maybe you may I also think like maybe part of it is the acceptance or whatever, the congrats or the ass pats or whatever that they get from the community when they come
Jupiter's
back and they
delight.
tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
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 And that
that's Katie Joy right there.
provides that also. I mean, it's like giving love. It provides that people fall in love because of a chemical process in their brains, or because of hormones, or all this other stuff, and that those type of actions give you that, and it is addictive. That's why there are people out there who crave this shit.
I think love is just oxytocin gone crazy. I mean, I mean, to me anymore, it's just like, is there really any such thing? Because I don't believe in soulmates, right? I think people develop their own love, and I think it's because of oxytocin that you start getting this bond with people, and your brain starts developing a need for it. It's like a dependency. So I do think that love is very hormonal and codependent. I just do, and that's not to diminish love. I think love is great, but we are unfortunately bound by our hormones when it comes to that. But let me ask you, like Katie Joy, you can see that little smirk she has when she starts talking about certain things. Oof. When she's talking about trauma and she's talking about somebody who's had some harm, the Schadenfreude shit she gets is she gets off on it. And it's notable. It's like a normal person's not going to have these little smiles talking about child sexual assault. It just doesn't happen. And with her, it's like creepy.
Yeah.
How much she seems to enjoy talking about it.
What it is, there's very specific triggers that happen that you can tell, and I've had to do that when profiling people, that you can tell whether what they're saying is something that they're relating. If you relate to your own personal
mind or
truth,
something?
Yeah, so if you're telling a story and it's your own personal truth, or I hate to use that word because it's so woke, but it's your own fact. Yeah, oh God, shoot me now.
She does that. She did that. She said that before. She's like, my truth. I'm like, your truth is a bullshit lie is what it is.
Yeah, but there are certain factors that you need. So when people relate their real life trauma or real life actions, whether it's trauma or whatever it is, they don't need to think about what they're saying because they've lived it. So they don't need to formulate the plan or the story. So you can see if a person talks especially slowly or looks over in a certain, depending on who you talk to, people have their own theories on that, then it's not their own thing. But if they're doing it and their affect doesn't match the story, then it's either crap or they're so emotionally stunted that that they're not able to put that
So what do you read from her? What do you read from Nonsense and Katie Joy?
For I think probably with Katie Joy, I could be wrong, but again, this is not a diagnosis because I'm not a diagnostician. But from what I see, I think there's some negative something that may have happened previously, but I don't think it's at that level. I think and our memories are fallible. They lie to us at times. They expand on experiences that we've had and try to match our emotions to what actually happened. And I think over the period of time that she's had this sense of wanting to correct something that was done to her, whether it's small or whatever it is, and it's blown up and blown up. I don't believe when she acted that way at all. I don't believe a single word of what she says because her affect doesn't match her words.
Oh, 100%.
It doesn't
100%.
match what she's saying. And I'm going to relay something personal. I lived that type. I was a victim of that stuff. I, to this day, and I'm not going to mention how old I am, but I can't talk about it without wanting to shake. And I'm a pretty tough person. I could hold my own. But I can't talk about what happened to me when I was 12 years old without feeling the need. Even just talking about it now, my voice kind of...
Because it brings up emotions.
It does.
Anybody that's been through something will empathize with that and know that you're telling the truth because that's happened to them. There's certain topics we start talking about. It's like you can hear the quiver. You can hear there's something off on that voice because they're remembering the horror or they're feeling emotions. With her, it's just a blank affect, or at least even worse, knowing that she's lying to people because she doesn't seem to have any of the feelings a normal person would have by any of the shit, the trauma that she supposedly has gone through.
And I also need to add a caveat to that. Sometimes substances or a long-term substance abuse can influence your affect. So that can be a part of it. I don't know if she has been. I don't know anything about that, and I don't want to know, and I'm not saying anything about that. I will say, just as a factor in what you're seeing, that you have to put that into consideration, whether they've had substances in the past, because your brain sometimes stops developing at the time that you do hardcore substance abuse. your various parts of your brain stops your development at that age, and that's why you see a lot of people who are long-term drug addicts, alcoholics, whatever, react in a way that they would when they were 14 or 15, if that's when they started. Or that she's probably, I get the feeling she's co-opted someone else's story in a way, and probably weaved that in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because she has a habit of co-opting stories and making herself the center of it.
Yeah, that's where my leading thing has sort of gone towards, because some of things don't quite gel together very well. And when you're telling an actual personal story, it's a very different structure and a very different way to do it, and it's just, it doesn't look right.
All right, what about nonsense then?
I don't know enough about what they say to form an opinion. I'll have to watch more of it. I think I honestly I can't reliably give a solid opinion on
That's
that.
fine.
I will say that my initial thoughts is that there's probably a bit of a mob mentality thing going on with them, as well as a personal grudge. Maybe a small incident or an insult has kind of snowballed into something else, or they.
Do you think Molly you think Molly Golightly did something to her? Because that would make sense. That actually is a viable theory, that Molly Golightly somehow slighted her, and she's been on this vindictive kick for what, a year now?
It doesn't even have to be the person they're targeting, which is an interesting in a bad way, but still interesting thing. It can be someone completely different in their life, and when they meet somebody who reminds them of that person, that's where they relate that to. So it could be, but I can't. Yeah, I'm not going to sort of.
Especially if they maybe had a family member that reminds them of or something.
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know for sure, but that's just.
Well, the problem is that she will never talk about it, right? Nonsense will never go to Aaron or Veda and say, let's have a conversation, when, straight up, I don't get this. Trust me, I will not have certain people on my channel, but pretty much Aaron allows anybody. She don't give a shit. I'm not saying she doesn't have standards, but she just basically anybody. By the way, her camera's frozen, so I don't know if she's here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought she was just concentrating really hard.
I saw a little glitch, and I thought she was concentrating too, and then I realized she's frozen. Yeah.
All right, I have to step out because I've got to get back to work. But thank you for having me on, Steve, and have fun.
I was going to add her back, but so anyways, so Veda, you still there? Thanks, lady, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was insightful.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But my point is that anybody can go on Erin's channel and talk about this stuff. She's had really crappy people on that I would never even let anywhere near me. But
I know you were telling me that. That's funny. Erin will accept some people that I would never accept.
Right? Yeah, go for it. Do your thing. I don't care if I want to watch it. I'll watch it. If I don't, I don't. First of all, you're never going to tell Erin who she can or cannot have on, nor should you. And if you did, she should tell you to piss off, because that's what I tell people. But if I would have nonsense on, you would have nonsense on, and she would have nonsense on, and yet nonsense has no desire to ever talk to anybody that's going to ask her the hard questions.
No, you can tell when she gets challenged, she backs up. She backs down because she's afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Am I echoing?
No, you sound okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think EKC
I was very into that. I'm shocked, that I just don't understand why she's batting so hard.
Well, that's why I was trying to draw that conclusion. I'm like, what's the reason why she is so trying to set Molly up, set you up, set Letitia up? There's three people now that apparently have been set up, and the only common denominator between all of them is nonsense, and maybe tangentially Katie Joy, but mostly nonsense.
I think they're doing it to me in revenge for exposing them. I know why they're doing it to me, but as far as Molly and them, I think it's pure hatred. And I think anybody that's dumb enough to follow them now are just going off their hate of Molly. That's it.
I don't get it. If somebody doesn't like Molly, why don't they just say, I'm not watching her? Like Molly has said, if you don't like her, don't watch. Then that's the same principle I go by. I respect her for that. Well, if you don't like something, you don't watch. Simple as that. I don't watch nonsense. Why? Because they're going to stand her shit. The only reason I even have ever seen anything from nonsense is pretty much because Erin had it on her channels, and now you do too. Other than that, I would have never known who this freaking person is.
Well, Erin said earlier, she said she thinks nonsense is doing this to be righteous. I don't. I think that in order to train someone's brain, you repeatedly say words, and she says facts and misinformation to make everybody believe that's what she's given them is the facts, when really she's bullshitting.
Yeah, there's no righteous in there. She has to know she's lying to some degree. There's no, whether consciously or subconsciously. The facts remain is if you listen to how she tries to justify things, like Veda, she was saying that the video clip that she got from Monty on the mic or Mike on the what is it? Is that how you pronounce it? Monty on the mic?
Manny.
I'm sorry, Manny on the mic. That I think is a true story. And she doesn't have to fabricate anything for that. There's nothing in her brain that has to be processed because she was trying to say, well, I got the video from Manny. But you notice very clearly she never went further and said, I don't know how the video got altered. She didn't talk about that.
I think she got it from Manny. She cut the part right where it, because it says, we don't want to watch her murder her husband. They cut it right where it says, we don't want to watch her. They cut right there and put murder her husband. I think she did that. And then Katie got it and put her wording on it.
I think so too. That makes sense to me. That's my operating theory until they'll tell, they give me evidence to the contrary. That's the motive I'm going on, is that she wanted to back up what Katie was saying, that Katie wasn't the original person to say that Dre had murdered her husband. But then it begs the question, or I should say raises the question, who in the right mind would edit a video for somebody else in order to support the other person's narrative unless they had some kind of mutual compact that benefited them both, that helped both of them? Nobody's going to put their look. I have never edited a video in my life to frame anybody, never, and yet I got accused of it, right? But there was somebody who did have a video out there that was taken well out of context and clipped, and that was put in my lawsuit with Kyle, because Kyle had used that video. It actually went into the law case because, one, it was funny, a lawyer that actually did this, but two, the court recognized that there had been some hanky things going on with this, okay? Because Kyle puts a bunch of altered evidence to the court. But this person had an alternative motive to fabricate evidence and give to Kyle. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to find this clip and give it to Kyle. It was, he had an alternative motive to take things out of context. So if Nonsense is doing this for Katie, it's not because she's just, doing it out of the kindness of her heart, so to speak, to, stand up for Katie, find a clip, manipulate it, and try to lie to people about it. No, there has to be something she's getting out of this.
Exactly. Nobody's going to do that for no reason.
No, I love you, Veda, but if you ever ask me to manipulate data or information to make a video, you know what I'm going to tell you. Right. I mean, I wouldn't do that for anybody, but I certainly wouldn't do it to somebody that, you some online person. I can understand if somebody had to do, if they save the life of their child or something, whatever, I mean, you're going to have some extreme thing, but who the fuck is going to do this for anybody?
Here's what gave her away. I told her, I said, read Katie's post and then play Katie's video, then Manny's. She won't do it. So that gives her away. She doesn't want the audience to see what they did.
Say that again.
So I told her, I said, okay, you go on your channel to vindicate yourself and you go on there and you play Manny's whole clip the way it was before y'all altered it. Show Katie's post.
Oh, yeah.
Show the whole thing. Show what Katie and y'all put on Facebook. She won't do that part. So that tells me she's trying to hide it.
Yeah. No, she knows it's been edited. She definitely knows it's been edited and she doesn't care.
She knows what that post has said this whole time. She knows what happened. And number two, I found a post last night and she got called out for this a while back. And she brushed that person off, acted like she played dumb, acted like she didn't know what they were talking about. And then she makes a post about it, which gave her away.
Yeah. And the fact that you've seen her post in groups where she said she hadn't even been in, that's pretty telling too.
And in the post, she says, she's talking about that clip where Molly said that Dre murdered her husband. Right there, that gave her away. I mean, she did it. There's no way she's backing down. Plus, she altered my video, so you have a hard time convincing me after you tampered with my shit.
I'd put $100 on it easy. No, not even phase me. $100 easy. I probably even put $1,000 on it. That I would say I put $1,000 that either she edited herself or knows who did. But I think she edited herself.
I do too.
Yeah, but like I said, she's never going to be able to get out from under this because she's not going to ever talk to you or Aaron or myself about it. So she can't clear that up. And two, what she's going to do is eventually hope people forget about it. And then she's just going to put out more stuff, and she's going to just put out more stuff and just keep the audience she's got of people that just don't give a shit, because it seems like the people that follow her don't care whether the evidence is true or not. They have such a hatred toward Molly, or even to Katie, even, I guess. I don't know. It's just like most of her hate watching are people that seem to be either Katie haters or ex-Katie haters, but she has ingratiated herself with that community.
Yes. And last night I did some investigating, and I want her to explain the tampered screenshots that she tampered, or maybe the tampered Tony messages she tampered that I found last night, or, there's a lot. There's so much, or maybe that tampered police email.
And this is why I think the eyes need to be on it. I think on your video, the saturation, I'm tending to believe at the moment it's there's a couple of different things. Either she re-rendered it with a different saturation, which I think is a little bit hard to phantom that she would go that far, but I would think that she probably just did it in OBS. I mean, changed the color filter as she was going over it. Because
when you put it in an editor, I could turn the saturation all the way up on your video, but just to do that, to have something to go at me for, is pretty desperate.
Right, but she could literally put the window capture on OBS and put the color filter on the window capture and do it that way.
Who does that, dude? Like, she made it so easy for me to expose her on that one. Like, you think I'm that brain dead?
Well,
really?
But I think again, you don't have to demonstrate to 100 people anything. You only have to have 10 people, 10% of the idiots who's going to buy it anyways. She's not going to try to convince everybody. That's not how these people work. They only have to convince the dumbest of the dumb, and that those people aren't going to ask any questions, because no matter what the subject is, you're always going to find people that are going to buy into your bullshit. It's going to be that, no matter what it is. I could make up the dumbest freaking thing in the world, and I guarantee I'll at least get one person to go, that makes sense. I'm like, how?
Well, here's what her evidence is. Her evidence amounts to one thing: going on a stream, reacting to Molly, and twisting whatever Molly says for 6 hours. My evidence is play a clip, bam it with something. Play a clip, bam it with something. I've never seen her do that. She has nothing.
How does she talk for 6 hours?
She had to show how guilty you are. You end up doing a stream longer than ours to prove you're not guilty. Come on, you're guilty.
Yeah, I don't know how she bothered. I mean, it's 6 hours of nonsense, doing nonsense.
I would blow my brains out. Like, that woman is mentally abusive and a psycho, and she wants that.
It took me a whole night to get through your stuff. Okay, I told you I'd catch up before Thursday, and I watched all the bucket stuff, and I did it at 1.5 speed. Which, by the way, you do speak really quickly, and I did try to understand. But you know what? It was kind of no. It's the funniest thing. Your information was so well presented. It didn't make much of a difference going to high speed. It was just so clear and concise that boom, here it is. Here's the video. Here's the manipulation. Who did it? Who was making note of it? Who brought it to people's attention? Oh, Nonsense and Katie. Okay.
Well, I used to teach graphic designing, and that was the biggest criticism. You need to break down this stuff like they're a kindergartner, or they are not going to catch you.
I love that. I don't have that skill set. I overcomplicate probably, but you have that skill set where you could make things just, here it is, blah, blah, blah. And I like that. I try sometimes. If I really, really care, then I will. This is not a subject that I want to waste too much of my life upon, because I think nonsense is, just a disinformation agent that's not worth my time. But I can see how you are so ingrained in this, because one, you have all the facts and you've done the research. Therefore, you want to get it out to people. And two, they started doing this shit to you personally.
They have no chance against me. But tonight, the rumor, what's his name, went live, and they're like, "Oh, Goose and Veda, Miss Potato Head." That's what they call me now. I thought my name was Spunky, but whatever.
Why are
I'm supposedly Justin's sister.
Who's this? Justin's?
Yeah, they think I'm Justin's sister.
Oh, good God.
So the thing is tonight that me and Goose were the original scammers, since we were able to get into Letitia's Cash App, even though I met Letitia 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Wow.
They are desperate. Desperate. They couldn't debunk. Take my evidence and prove me wrong. That's what you're supposed to do, not make up another lie to cover your ass.
But
take one thing I did in that stream and tell me I was wrong. One thing. That's what I want y'all to do.
I love when women who sit there and have this moral high ground try to go after other women for their looks. And I look, I understand people go after Katie Zore's looks, and that's one of the reasons they do that is because she's always talking how beautiful she is compared to like Tati Westbrook. What a great makeup artist she is. She's a diehard narcissist that wants all the attention, and yet she looks like death warmed over sometimes. I mean, it's just bizarre. So I can understand that, but you've not talked about any of that stuff, and yet now they're going after you for somehow your parents, because
that's the lowest they can go, because they have nothing on me. That's why. And I've only said ridiculous. 2 things about Katie's looks. I said she looked like the little Willy Wonka munchkins, and then I said that she was Mrs. Ice Crotch. That's it.
Yeah, well,
I've never
but you've also
said
got
anything
stuff
else
against her. Look, I don't care. if they went against you and gave all this evidence and then went after your looks, okay, that's just whatever. I couldn't care less. But that's all they've done.
I've gave them 9 months. I've waited 9 months through 80 Unirock streams, about blew my brains out to look for some evidence. None, except one clip that they twisted.
Amazing.
And the rest is tampered screenshots, tampered audio, tampered video, or twisted, or they would talk over a video that was literally everybody just watched the Molly's. What they do is they don't wait long enough. They will let Molly go live and then take her video that we just watched and we know what was said and talk over it to make it sound like it said something else. When we just watched her, you're so dumb. Like, we know what she said. You can't play us.
I saw that on Aaron's video. By the way, April, I don't know. I wish I had I really do wish I had the answer to that question. I see a lot of crazy out there, but you're actually right, because I had watched one of Aaron's videos and she was doing a review of one of Nonsense's, late night long videos. And I would hear what Molly was saying. And then I would hear Nonsense say something. And I think myself, what the fuck is she talking about? And then Aaron would be like, what the fuck is she talking about?
Exactly. I know we didn't see two things.
Yeah.
And they're the only ones that
people
twist this stuff. They're just mad because they got to work harder for Katie's money. That's all it is I'm making them earn.
I guess so.
That's all.
I mean, I don't know they're paying her. I mean, I'm sure they are, but I mean, it's somehow there's always a combination of things. I don't know how much monetary effect it's having with Nonsense, but I think there's. I'm absolutely convinced there's a compact there.
Aaron, though, I didn't even know she was gone.
Yeah, she had to restart her computer or something. She should be coming back. Aaron, come back.
When y'all come off stream, like, I seriously gotta have both of you immediately, okay?
For what?
I gotta have you and Aaron immediately after we get off stream. Just so you know.
Oh yeah. That's fine. I'm gonna.
It's so important. It's really important.
I will be ending this soon. She's almost back.
I'm fine. I was just letting you know. Don't run away.
I don't run, first of all, but I don't have a lot of women chasing me anyways to run from. But I got a few things going on.
What did you think about what the lady said? Did you when she said that I wanted to ask her, but everybody was talking, but I wanted to ask her what her thoughts about like gaslighting and scapegoating and, all of those sort of terms, because they are pros at that. I wanted to see what she thought about that. You know what I'm talking about? Like gaslighting, scapegoating, deflecting, projecting, that kind of thing.
She has all those. Yeah, she's doing all those things. And I mean, the gaslighting is through the roof. But I mean, but here's the thing. I don't even know how much of a gaslighting it really is when you're just lying to an audience that doesn't care, right? I mean, sure, she's gaslighting the people that know, but is she really going out of her way to gaslight them and try to have them question their sanity? Yeah, you know what? Maybe not so much. I think that it's a situation where Nonsense is going to put out this misinformation. She's going to have a small group of people that really hate Molly that are going to believe her no matter what, as Aaron said. And if it goes against what other people know to be true, that's going to be a fact. But is it intentionally trying to gaslight them? Right
now it's the backtracking phase and the kind of cover-up phase, which you can do all that all day. Y'all are caught. I mean, y'all are dead frauds. Sorry, there is nothing you're going to be able to do to change my followers' minds. I don't want your followers if they're that brain dead. Sorry, I don't want them.
Yeah, no, I'm simple. Look, anybody who's listening to this, I mean, I'm serious. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're an idiot. I might, but I'm not going to kick you out. But I'm just wondering, is there anybody listening who is not convinced yet that they have framed Molly Golightly, Veda, and Letitia, or at least one of them? You don't have to agree to all of them.
Yeah, just one.
Just even one is fine. But you just somebody say that, oh, they didn't frame them, or they're not convinced, because those are the people I really want to have a conversation with.
Right.
I bet it's Lawrence.
What's wrong with you people?
I bet Lawrence is sitting there going, yeah, well, you got to be convinced because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. This is not his shit.
And I'm not trying to be rude, but, I've had all of them. Since that live stream, let me tell you, at the people that have changed their mind that have come to me and the people that haven't changed their mind that have come to me, it outweighs. I mean, most people are awake. They've been hammered with this training in their brain that this is the story for 8 months. It's trying to retrain a brain to see the truth. After they've been lied to and gaslit and manipulated and all of that. That's what's happening here.
100%. Lawrence, you're part of the cult. You're just supposed to agree with me without questions. Stop asking questions.
Right.
And
everybody says, like, the truth will set you free. No, the truth will run your life, because I have vouched for people, and I am too good-hearted. I will stand in front of a train for a homeless person. I'm just that way. It's a bad thing for me. I've like wasted half my life taking up for people I don't even know. I've just done
But
that.
you know
That's just
what?
my nature.
I was gonna say, you're altruistic, but there's no such thing as pure altruism. If you enjoy it and you get something out of it, I don't find a problem with that. April, see,
Them smiling, and Letitia calling me after that stream was enough for me. That's it.
April's innocent, so it doesn't count. You're not convinced because you're innocent because you don't know any of this stuff. That's fine.
I was worried that lady would notice I didn't have a full deck, so I didn't say a word. I was like, I'm not saying that.
let her do an hour session with you. But here's the thing: it's like Letitia has trusted you now, and I'm glad that she has. And there's no possible way Letitia would ever trust nonsense, Uni or Katie Rock. I mean, no possible freaking way. And I wish we would have gotten that message to her initially. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's what happened, and why none of the receipts have been put out is she is just terrified somebody's going to do her wrong, and people are going to, the wrong thing will get out, and people will come after her or call people and cause her problems. I mean, this woman has had to waste more money on the damage these people have done than she's got any progress done. Saying.
I really wish I could have talked to her months before this happened and warned her to stay away from certain people and never even mentioned the word Unirock or Katie Joy ever. Garen, I think it is altruism, but there's no such thing as pure altruism, right?
Tell me what those mean again.
Altruism is basically the doing something for somebody else just for the sake of doing it for them and not getting anything out of it for yourself. The problem is that I believe is psychologically impossible, because whenever we do something for somebody else, we are doing it for ourselves because we want to do it, or else we wouldn't be doing it. If you didn't want to do it, it's a performance contradiction. If you say, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to help somebody, that's not altruism. It's an antithesis of altruism. So altruism, sure, you want to be able to help somebody, but the reason you want to help them is because you want to. So my argument has always been there's no such thing as pure altruism, but that doesn't mean that we don't have altruism itself. It's one of those really weird things in like philosophy and psychology and grammar, is that by the very act of doing it, you seem to be not doing it. Because if I was to truly be selfish and do something with no alternative motive whatsoever, I have no reason to do it, then I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. I'm not doing it to help anybody. I'm just like, I'm just doing this for whatever. It's not being altruistic because you're not doing it for the want of helping somebody. And if you do it for the want of helping somebody, it's because you want, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that I love, but I love talking about this.
I was able to dig deeper into this, and this is a very, very quick, cool story. I was at my psychologist, and I want to know why I do it. Why am I doing this? Why am I like screwing myself to? I would lose my house for somebody else to have their house. I'm just like that, and I'm like, why do I do this?
I don't think that's what I disagree with that. I don't think that you should go that far, and here's the reason why. When you start sacrificing yourself to the point where you have to help somebody else like that, you have to say to yourself, I'm now in their position. Who's going to do that for me? You're not accomplishing anything for that.
And nobody's there. And my doctor said, I want you to vision a fire, and who's on the other side of that? Who would walk through the fire for you? Whoever is not there, forget about.
Yeah. I mean, look, the people that have gone out of the way to help me, I've helped them. And there's reciprocity there, right? And so you can't give up your own, everything that you have just because somebody is without, because then you're going to be in the same position as them. What good is it going to be doing if you give up all your worldly possessions and now you're homeless and starving? Nobody's going to be doing it to you because nobody's going to be, no offense, but that purely altruistic, or I even say silly, to give everything they own to somebody else. Now, that doesn't mean you don't want to help people. And most of the time, like, for example, when it comes to food, anybody wants some food, I'm happy to feed people, right? At work, when somebody's like, oh, I've got my wallet, I don't need money. Hey, you want some lunch? I mean, there's like 5 people at work that bring food repeatedly. Okay. And I'm one of those. I'll bring donuts, I'll bring pizza. I just like to bring food, and some other people do too. And I don't like seeing people go hungry, right? But it's not, again, it's not pure altruism. But I'm not going to sell everything I own to feed the entire population.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
In my mind, like when I was talking to my doctor, we were talking about Christmas, and I told him I will buy them 9 pairs of shoes versus 1. I don't know why I do it. I just do it. Like my husband will say, I want a pair of Converse. I got him every color there were. And he's like, why in your mind do you think you do it? And I said, that way I know it's enough and they're happy.
It's overkill.
And he said, I want you to think about something. He said, you're thinking in your mind probably, and he's not referring to my husband, but he said, you're probably thinking in your mind that they're happy and satisfied. But what if they're thinking, oh man, all of these are ugly and that's the wrong color?
Right. No,
And I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. And here's the thing: you're never going to please everybody, anyways. It's not going to happen. But there are certain people you can't please. I mean, think about this. When do you think Katie Joy has ever appreciated getting an actual gift? When do you think she's actually appreciated it? There you go. I mean, probably never, right? Never. Nope. And I
woman,
when she
was live the other day talking about Dre, she's like, if you think you're going to come back to me and make me feel bad, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And that's the only truth she told in that whole live.
And that's why you keep the people around. Like, for example, when Kano gets me like 3 tacos from Del Taco, I'm like, you're my savior. What? I'm so appreciative of 3 fucking tacos. But when I'm hungry, those 3 tacos come a long way, right?
Well, you know where most of my evidence came from? Body language.
Oh, Katie's
I'm very good at reading somebody, very good, and watch the words that they catch themselves saying. That's how I found out Katie sent the evidence to the police and the CPS just by her slipping up on accident both times.
Didn't she finally admit to that though?
Yes.
Yeah, but
she was caught. Yeah. She was dead caught anyway.
Yeah, and I find like it oftentimes like people their words will be saying one thing but claiming to be doing something for one reason, but their actions just tell a completely different story. I mean, it's a lot easier to sit there and consciously, pay attention and try to sell the lie, but what your actions are always going to work in your own self-interest. So,
well, I'm not trying to doctor feel you, but 93% of all communication is nonverbal, and I believe that.
So how is it that like nonsense is key? Like, for example, I don't watch her stuff. The only reason I watch her stuff is through you, Aaron. And so I was telling Veda that when I was watching something that she was saying, and I thought to myself, what the hell she's talking about? And you literally paused it right there and you said, what the hell is she talking about, or something along those lines? And I was like, exactly. I was like, it was just like, what? I didn't even know what the hell she was trying to spin this as. And you like read my mind. But this is what, when I watch nonsense on your channel, this is what she does on everything. She watches something, she pauses it, she says something, and I'm like, how is she even making a logical, coherent argument here? There's nothing here. She's just like watching this, and she says something completely unrelated to her story. It's fucking weird.
They are so good at playing Twister, man. And I can move around, but not that good. I can't even do a split, but just saying. They're good. Aaron. They're pretty good.
Aaron, you want to unmute?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I feel like I have background noise or something here. So I unmute when I'm not talking.
That's quiet.
Well, I like to study the different stages of psychology, and there's criminal psychology and how criminals think. And I thought about it, and I was like, that's how they're thinking. And so I just really try to think from how they're thinking, and that's how it was all easy to. It was just it all came to me, and I was like, they're framing them for sure. Like,
absolutely.
This is
all right, well,
another thing I noticed really, especially as of late, like when they're coming at myself or Veda, they're throwing out accusations that we're Molly simps or whatever. We're paid by Molly. We're Molly ass kissers. We're after Molly's clout or whatever. And that's why we're lying.
How?
They never say what we are doing or saying. What is the lie? What's the lie? How is this the lie? Like, you don't
have nothing.
So basically,
you mean those Molly simps, the ones that spread all of Molly's lies for us? Okay, what lie are we spreading for Molly exactly? Let's be precise here. Okay.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're Molly simping and you're promoting lies that people can call out, but just to say that you're simping and not even show the lie is weird.
Yep.
And I never talked to the woman, so by all means try to run that fucking narrative that I'm simping for Molly, a person I've never had any engagement with. I don't watch. I don't have any interest whatsoever. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen her in 1 or 2 skits that I thought was kind of funny. Her Katie Joy skit on the phone call, I honest to God was laughing my ass off. That was fucking hilarious. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I wanted to say to y'all, if y'all were watching my stream the other night and y'all saw me lose my cool, my bad.
No problem. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Katie Joy thing, the hotline. Katie Joy, say my name.
Oh my God, I begged Molly for that video. I said, I'm begging you to send it to me. I just want to make it my intro.
I thought that I thought was funny. I would give her full props on that. I couldn't stop laughing. The way she was there, like, Katie Joy, say my, and this poor guy, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, what did he walk into, right? He's like, I don't, you know what? I don't need it that bad.
Well, I was kind of grossed out because I was trying to think of Katie Joy talking in a sexual way, and that made me want to puke.
Oh no, I couldn't go there.
The first thing that comes to my mind is Josh Duggar. I don't know why. I don't have no clue why.
She's madly in love with Josh. I think I think she's in love with him. But anyways, Aaron, do you want to say something? Because you're still muted.
Because that's the first thing that comes into Katie Joy's mind.
Oh, right. And I know her.
I swear to God, that I thought I'm going to end it with this because Kino wants to watch the telly, and I'm going to go get some ice cream for her and some soda. You want some ice cream and some soda?
No, I want some ice cream and some soda.
Oh, she put it in the comments.
All right, but you want some soda for your rum, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go get her.
Telly, yeah.
Yeah, she wants to watch telly and wants some ER, and I'm gonna go get some soda for her. She's had a long day. Okay.
Get on it, Steve. Get on it.
But I swear to God, I thought Aaron was gonna say Josh Duggar. Okay, what'd you say? You said Josh Duggar is always
on her mind.
I said. Yeah, Katie Joy has Josh Duggar on the mind or whatever.
I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say like Katie Joy always has Josh Duggar coming in her mouth or something like that. I was like, what the hell?
Oh my God!
I don't know. I was just like, rewind the tape because I was like, where's Aaron gonna go with this?
Well, maybe she's being a journalist and practicing to be a journalist, so that when she's in jail, she can journal Josh. It'll be great.
You know what? I've not been feeling well lately. This made me even not more nauseous. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sick.
I think I need to go take some drugs now. Or
I need to go get this soda and take a shower.
5 minutes ever happened.
Yeah. Woo! I was worried there. I was like, what the hell is Aaron going to say here after we watch the tape? But anyways, good night, guys. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Veda,
Bye, guys.
I have your channel in the video description. Aaron, I have your channel in the video description. Go watch them. They do a wonderful job.
And I just want to say, I'm sorry, I wanted to throw out there too. I really enjoyed being up on panel with Lady Firebird and listening to everything she had to say. I found that very insightful, and I want to thank her for that.
That's the first time. That's odd. Yeah, she's really cool. All right, I'm gonna end the broadcast. I'm gonna stay in the hangout real quick so Veda can talk a few minutes. But anyways, outside, thanks for watching. Please leave comments if you got questions. Just leave them as a chat. Leave them on the video description, and I'll get to them. And just bug the hell out of Veda and Aaron. Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Night.
I'm working on it. Good night.